Good morning to you, and welcome back to today's JRPG Weekly Update. I'm SuperDerek, and we've got some interesting news today. Some stuff that's off of my usual beaten path, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. You know, we're going to be talking about GameStop and the recent news that you might have been hearing about them lately. And also, we've got some other, games that are coming out just around the horizon, but before we get to that, I do have a correction from last week that I want to just get out of the way real quick if we can, and that is that last week I was talking about Persona 5 Scramble and how it got a new trailer, and I just mentioned a note about, the consoles that it was coming to, PlayStation 4 and Switch, but I said that it wasn't coming to PC, and that is actually not the case. It is in fact coming to PC. I'm not sure how I made that mistake. Actually, I do know how I made that mistake. I was overconfident in thinking that I remembered everything about it, and well, clearly that was false. So I'm going to try to do better in the future and make sure that I fact check the things that I say a little more closely and just rely a little less on what I think I know and more on what I know that I know. Okay. Anyways, I apologize for any confusion that may have caused. And by the way, if I ever do make future errors, I in the past I've pinned comments to the top of the comments section so that I can help at least alleviate some misinformation that I help spread by mistake. Anyways, I'll try to do that as well, but more importantly, I'll try to stop making mistakes. Anyways, moving along, we've got some new games and ports to talk about here, starting with Kingoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning is now finally coming to Nintendo Switch. This is a HD remaster of Kingoms of Amalur Reckoning, which was released back on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Now, we can expect a release date of March 16th of this year, if all goes well. Also, THQ Nordic have also confirmed that a previously announced expansion pack called Fatesworn is also expected to release still sometime in 2021. Also, we've got news of a PC point-and-click adventure that is now coming to consoles, so if you're a fan of point-and-click adventures, well, this is your time to shine, because we've got Dark Eye, Chains of Satinav? Satinav? It sounds like Satnav. Chains of Satinav and Memoria. And now, these are based on a tabletop RPG of the same name, the Dark Eye series, and the game is launching on all consoles here on January 27th, which is just around the corner. Not a whole lot of heads up, but if you guys are interested, keep your eyes out for it. And then also, news of a old PlayStation 2 game that we never got in the West is finally coming stateside, and that's called Kowloon Highschool Chronicle, and it is now coming to Nintendo Switch on February 4th. This game is a pretty stylish looking visual novel / dungeon crawler from back in 2004. I kind of get a little bit of Persona vibes out of it, but I mean, it may be more like Shin Megami Tensei vibes with it being a dungeon crawler and all. The game is going to be on the Nintendo Switch eShop for around $30, though I didn't see anything about a physical release, unfortunately. But hey, beggars can't be choosers, can we? Now, in other news, this is where things are going to go sort of away from my usual fare of talking about RPGs. This is still industry related, though. It's industry news, video game news, and that is GameStop's recent stock headlines that you might have been seeing and most likely will be seeing a lot of here within the next couple of weeks. So GameStop's stock has been skyrocketing lately, and a lot of people are wondering why. This is something that I've been following very closely for a couple of months now. And I can try to briefly explain the situation. It's not financial advice at all, so I'm not qualified to provide financial advice. So I'll just tell you what I know, and hopefully that'll help explain sort of what's going on here. So GameStop's stock has been hurting for quite some time, and it was being actually artificially suppressed even more by large firms making very risky plays on the stock. Basically, they're benefiting the lower the stock goes, the more money they can kind of extract from it. So GameStop's recent improvement in their sales and change in management have actually started creating a bit of a buzz in the investment scene, especially among what they call retail investors, causing the stock to increase as people have started betting more on GameStop. Now, those firms that were making risky plays are on the hook for billions of dollars and have, in essence, created a feedback loop that is now causing this stock to snowball, resulting in these firms absolutely hemorrhaging money. So I suspect that you will start to see a lot of these billion-dollar corporations and firms using their influence and money to spin this headline a little bit differently. But the fact of the matter is that these corporations have been caught with their pants down and have been outsmarted by the people that they, up to this point, have been calling dumb money. So, yeah, this is sort of an underdog story, in fact. So, currently, trying to get in on this stock, by the way, is a very high-risk, high-reward sort of scenario, though I do believe that GameStop is actually long-term a solid investment. They've got pretty good prospects in the long run. Full disclosure, I am invested in GameStop right now. So what exactly is GameStop's new pivot that has garnered this interest in the first place? Well, they're transitioning to focus more on online sales, transitioning local stores over into PC hardware sales. They are also partnering with console manufacturers to help sell subscription services to get a cut of that. And they've actually got several new board members that are changing out the old management with the new, including the founder of Chewy, who is Ryan Cohen, and a lot of his cohorts from Chewy got brought over, and they're on the board of directors, as well as fan favorite Reggie Fils-Aimé from Nintendo. I do believe that these people have really good vision of the future of GameStop, and I'm kind of excited to see where it goes. There's a whole lot of additional information that I haven't even started to touch on, but if any of this has actually caught your attention and you're interested in getting in on GameStop or whatever, I will link to a kind of an affiliate link of mine with Webull, which you can use to acquire some free stock at random, and I also get some random free stock. This is not sponsored. It's also not legal advice or financial advice. Again, and just as a side note, just don't invest anything that you cannot afford to lose. Also, in other news, CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077 just got its version 1.1 patch that is aimed at improving stability, fixing various bugs in various quests that they've been dealing with, and then also various platform-specific optimizations for PS5, Xbox One, Stadia, PC, PS4, PS5, all of the consoles basically, and PC. They all have various optimizations that they're pushing out. This isn't exactly going to be an overwhelming patch, and it's not going to address the vast majority of complaints that people have with them. They should run a little bit better, encounter a few fewer things, but they're not going to really restore a lot of the promised features that were cut or never developed in the first place. So I will say, though, that this is the first step on their roadmap to making the game to bring it into a playable state. More patches are on the horizon, and it's entirely possible that, maybe after a couple of years of this kind of development, maybe this could be something worth playing. I know a lot of people do actually still have fun playing Cyberpunk 2077, but it's just a shadow of what it was advertised to be. And my hopes are that over time, they will be able to save this and turn it into what it was supposed to be from the start. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes. In community news, there's a bit of interesting news here. We've got an upcoming final release for a new Bahamut Lagoon fan translation, which is slated to come out on February 9th. This project is by somebody calling themselves Near in EAR, and this is a fan translation that features extensive hacking, several new custom fonts, a brand new high-quality script translation by somebody who's highly fluent in both English and Japanese, and I will include a link to this project down in the description down below. And that leaves us with today's JRPG Weekly Forecast. Starting on Tuesday, January 26th, we've got Atelier Ryza 2. This is The Lost Legends and the Secret Fairy. This is coming to Nintendo Switch, PC, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 5. Also, on Wednesday, January 27th, we've got The Dark Eye, Chains of Satinav, and Memoria, the game we were just talking about moments ago. It's coming to PC, It's actually already on PC. It's coming to PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, and the Series X consoles. Then following that, on Thursday, January 28th, we've got Sword of the Necrodancer, which is coming to Nintendo Switch, PC, PS4, and Xbox One. And then finally, Yakuza Remastered Collection is also coming out on the Xbox One and PC. It is already available on the PlayStation 4. And that brings us to today's question of the week. And my question for you is, what is a game that you've done a 180 on? A game that maybe you hated at first but ended up loving it, or maybe something that you used to love but have since fallen out of love with it. I've actually got a couple of games that immediately come to mind when talking about this question, and I think the first one was really my first ever RPG, which was Earthbound, a game that at first I really didn't like it. I didn't understand it, and then eventually I was forced to play it due to lack of other games to play, and I finally buckled down and played it, and it ended up causing me to fall in love with the entire genre as a whole. But a more recent example of this is actually probably Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. Birth by Sleep at first, when I played through as Terra, was actually a very, very rough slog, but it wasn't until towards the end of it that I actually got my hands around the character progression system, and then as a result of that, I actually really ended up falling in love with the gameplay of Birth by Sleep. And then as I played through as the other characters, Ventus and Aqua, it just clicked for me, and it's as a result, it really turned around my entire opinion of the game. But I'm going to pass that question back to you. What are some games that you've done a 180 on? And anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I know it's been a little bit weird to have me talk about finances and stuff, but hey, what you gonna do? I am SuperDerek, and this has all been news to me. Have a great week, everyone.